Okay, appreciate everyone attending here. I think there'll still be a few more trickling in, but I don't want to delay the start of it since you guys showed up on time. So let's get started. Today's webinar, the agenda, there's three main things I'm going to cover. Before I do that, just a little bit of housekeeping here. There should be a Q&A portion on your menu through Zoom. You can go ahead and post questions. Depending upon timing and how many questions there are, I may or may not be able to do those online, but I will for sure, take it offline if I need to, and make sure we share all of those questions and answers with everybody. So, and also if I happen to forget, there will be a survey at the end of this. I would really appreciate if you could just take 2 minutes, probably would be maximum. Just kind of wanted to get your feedback on the webinar so we can continue to do these things and make it pertinent to your business. So with that, let's get started. I wanted to cover the recap of the recent report additions. That should be pretty quick options. Then I'm going to move over to occupancy map display change. This isn't like really new, but we still get a few questions, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware of it. And then finally, we'll cover the new booking engine update. So let's get started with the reporting. Oh, first things first, the two reports that I wanted to cover, the most recent reports that we've launched, is this report. I know in the update that we shared, we called it the everything report. So we heard people's feedback and they want a lot of data from their reservations. So instead of trying to kind of build custom reports, we have developed a report called People Arriving by Day. And so what this is going to do is you can choose the date or the date range here, run the report, and it will then spit out each day who's arriving with as much information as we could put on this report. So it spits out, you can see all of their contact information along with confirmation, unit, arrivals, departures, nights, etc. So you can see that it contains a lot of data, and this report is exportable. So a lot of people, you can export to Excel, use whatever data you want. You could hide or remove columns. So this is just one of those reports. It was kind of a common request that we added. I just want to make sure I covered that. The next report that I wanted to cover is pending cash flow. So this was another request we had from a few people, and then after we developed it, a bunch more people commented on how great of a report it is. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of this report. So this is designed to just give you a snapshot as of today by default. You can switch this date, but typically what we're hearing is people just kind of want to know, as of today, what am I going to be collecting here for the next however many months I've got reservations, and then we've kind of laid it out by month. So August, and that gives you the reservations, the total charges, the amount paid, and the money that you're going to still collect off of these reservations. Obviously that can change, people can cancel, people can add reservations, but and again, it just kind of goes through month by month. This is another report that you can export as well as subscribe to. So a recap on the subscriptions. A subscription means you could have this report emailed to you maybe once. I mean, you could have it once a day, once a week, once a month, once a quarter, whenever you want that. So you can set that up, and then it'll just send that to you in an email. So hope everybody takes advantage of those two reports and keep the feedback coming. We will try to keep up with it all. So The next thing I wanted to cover is the recent changes. This was, I think, about a month or two ago that we added this. People wanted more information on these reservations without having to click. One of the most common pieces of feedback was the guests, who's coming. So some people may have seen this, some people have asked, but I just wanted to make sure I covered this. So now you have the option to, and I'll show you the setting here, but it will display your guest types. And what we've done is we chose the first letter of that guest type. So in my scenario, A2 means 2 adults. This is an example of 2 adults, 1 child, and 1 pet. Again, so that is an option. That is found in the settings under display settings. And now here is where you can get rid of some of those things. So if you want to just see, if you don't really care about the number of nights, but you want to see the phone and the guest counts, or etc. So you can kind of customize that to your liking, and then make sure to hit save after you do that. With that, I wanted to cover the booking engine. Let me first see if I can pull up this Q&A. Nothing yet. So let me move over to the booking engine here. All right, I got more of a presentation on this. I can switch over to live data just in case, but I kind of wanted to cover what we did and why we did it. So first things, I guess I should have said why and then what. So why we did it. We have heard loud and clear from our user base, as well as customers that I talked to on the sales side, is that our booking engine was outdated. Didn't really follow a lot of industry standards, terminology. We had a separate offering from mobile phones versus their desktop, which is just kind of a bad thing all around, different features, etc. We had options that had some very limited functionality. It worked for a very small number of people, but as our program continued to progress, the kind of the outdated functionality of that TUI calendar became apparent. So that's one of those things that we looked at. I just pulled some report, over 100 support tickets regarding mobile booking engine, how it was different, limited, TUI calendar, some of the quirkiness I'll go over when people were trying to kind of, even just on a desktop, choosing arrival and departure dates. And then plain and simple, we've had people leave us because of our outdated booking engine, and people not buying from us because of our outdated booking engine. And last but not least, we plan to progress rezStream. And in doing so, when we add new things, we want to make sure that you can take advantage of no matter what option you're doing on the booking engine. So first of all, what changed? So this is kind of a desktop view. First of all, like step 1, we call it. So when people click that book now or check availability, whatever that button you may have on your website, this is the old version versus the new version. So the old version, you can kind of see, was a bit busy, clunky, different. It just wasn't as user-friendly as it needed to be. And kind of the quirkiness I was kind of talking about, when people clicked on these things, it didn't always follow that pattern. So we've looked at, you know, the big players in the industry, you know, the OTAs. They're all about getting bookings as easy and quickly as possible. So, you know, we kind of took those into account as what we were going to design. So we kind of changed a couple of things. Obviously, very streamlined. Changed our terminology. Check in, check out. That is kind of an industry standard we've seen across the board. Just an easy way to put some default in there, guests, the nights, make sure we make the ADA accessible. That is kind of one of those things we wanted to make sure is loud and clear. And then the ability to have the promo code. So Nothing busy, nothing to wander, make your eyes wander, quick and easy. So that's kind of the what changed on that part of it. Other part is the kind of the mobile versus desktop that we've always had. So with this new booking engine, the themes, the standard themes that we've done should be mobile responsive. Now we have customized some themes, so I'll talk more about that later on how to check. But now there's no more need for a separate mobile booking engine. I'll kind of give you an example of some of the issues that we had, but the mobile functionality was not able to kind of mimic the desktop. So there was a lot of different things that the desktop offered that just wasn't available in the mobile. So you can kind of just see here the top part of my screen has kind of the desktop view. And this used to be the view on a mobile. I guess it still is, unless you've disabled that, and I'll talk about that. Versus the newer version on a mobile device. So it basically is taking that and it's putting it as a responsive option. So it has the same look, same feel, same options as the desktop version. This is kind of one of the reasons that we kind of did the old mobile versus new mobile. This is just one example of the functionality of that version. So this is an example. I did a search for 2 nights, but I required a 3-night minimum. So on the mobile booking engine, it basically just said, oh, we can't find anything. So again, if you had a 2-night minimum on a weekend and they searched for 1, it basically is saying you're not available. It did have an option to view full availability, but as people kind of know, we got quick attention spans. They see we're sorry, they could search again, keep getting this message. On the new approach, you can do those same things. This is one I want to highlight here. They can clearly see the search that they've performed. The mobile booking engine had really no option to verify what they've actually selected. So you see what they searched for, and then it will display a message. So it displays on this example of, hey, these things are available, but your requirements don't match your selections. And it will explain, we require a 2-night minimum during that time period, or a 4-night minimum. So that's the type of thing that the old versus new. This is an option for step number 1. You have the option to show a full availability calendar. So this is the example of that same booking engine that I showed with the option to display that full calendar. So you'll see here, check in, check out. When you change those things, it will kind of highlight your selection, and then you hit search. Or the user can kind of navigate forward, backward to check your availability, type in those dates. What we found is people really instantly want to do, they have some dates in mind at least, so they can click on those dates and it kind of highlights that, and they can navigate around and see if you have availability before they do the search. This is completely optional. I'd say the majority of the customers did not have kind of the full availability selected, but now it's an optional part. So going back to kind of the first part is the mobile booking engine versus the booking engine as it stands today. We have the option to disable the mobile booking engine. So we can help with this, or what we recommend, and again, I can share this information, but we recommend going to your website from your phone, clicking the book now, and on the mobile booking engine, there should be a view desktop availability calendar on the bottom of that. So it should end up looking like this here. If you see any sort of differences or it not displaying correctly, that's where you can reach out to us and we will help out with that. Before you disable the mobile booking engine, we want you to verify that, because like I said, we did sort of customize some themes for certain people, and when we start to do some customization, things can get different than when our standard theme is in place. So, and then why we think you should disable. So number one is then they have the same experience. They get the same messages, they see the same things. People typically don't just do one search on one device when they're searching for vacations, places to stay. Sometimes they'll be at work and searching on a desktop. Sometimes then when they get home, they'll switch to their phone, finding those same properties and clicking on that. And you want that experience to be the same thing. So if they've kind of already experienced one of those things, it should be expected that that same experience is on the other device and any device that's on there. So I do want to share some things. Statistically, we know that it's super early, and I wondered whether to share this. I did just want to kind of emphasize kind of why we did it. So again, the main part is page number 1, and some of the things that we review is from our end is keeping an eye on is like page 1 statistics. So this just kind of gives you an example. I know that's a horrible quality image. I apologize for that. So just an example of one of our clients we were able to take a peek at. We just kind of examined the last week with the previous week. Now, this isn't the perfect example here because there's so many things at play now with the resurgence of COVID. All of those things can change. But the biggest thing I want to highlight here is those who made a reservation were able to do it 27% quicker than before. So that's kind of the one of the key metrics, right? Like that's why places like Expedia, they just super simple to get them from point A to point B, which is booking that reservation as quickly as possible. So that's kind of one of the biggest things. And here's the other statistic wanted to share. So this is where how many people are moving from that page 1 to page 2. Again, this is a very small sample size. I will be the first to admit that, but it is something, like I said, we are monitoring. This just gives an example of the previous week. 88% of all people that hit that page 1 moved to page 2. This last week, the full week after the in place, 96.79% of the people moved from page 1 to page 2. So I do know that people are asking questions, and a lot of these things are actually going to be covered. So just as an FYI here, and here is where we have heard from a handful of people. So we know that when we do any sort of update to any program or any change, we can't, with the types of properties we serve, everybody runs their property differently. We can't make the first go round perfect for everybody. So these are kind of the 3 things that we are kind of in queue to do some research on. Number 1 is a legend. So if you choose to show that full availability calendar, creating a legend to make sure that people are aware that X's mean not available, whatever color your theme provides for available dates, those. Number 2 is to display the rates on step 1. I'll go into this a little bit. So this is difficult. This is actually one of the reasons that it's hard. So when you display a rate, you can display one rate. That doesn't necessarily give the full picture of a property with the rooms they provide and the rates they provide. Now, if you just offer one rate, and it's just one rate for one unit, it might change throughout the year, but it's just one rate. displaying a rate is great. But our advancements in our program to allow discounts and progressive discounts. So stay 2 nights, you get a discount. Stay 3 or more, you get more discounts. Those types of functionality it broke. That the booking engine, the 2-week calendar and displaying rates. Well, those really aren't then the rates that you offer. So upselling, right? So a lot of properties don't want a 1-night reservation. They'll take it. They don't want it. They prefer a 3-night, right? It's less housekeeping and less staffing. So the ability to upsell. So, hey, we offer a better rate if you stay 3 instead of 2. So those types of things. But it is on I say that, but then I do want to let you know it is being reviewed how we can incorporate that and still be able to provide an experience for properties that want to try to extend those stays and upsell. And then finally we're researching a way to be able to click on that calendar. So on that display calendar, we sort of made it read only, just because the initial screen they're presented is check in, check out, when you want to come, when you want to leave, and search. We find that that's what most people expect. That's what most people do when, a lot of people go to the OTAs and do their initial search. That's what they're getting there. They're getting on, Google Hotels. They're getting all of these places. Check in, check out, do search. So that's kind of step number 1. With that being said, we are looking in that. That is a ticket for review. I think that actually covered the 3 questions that were in there. So I'm glad that I sort of predicted the questions, because those were the handful of things that we review. So we take all feedback seriously, no matter if it's 1 person or 100 people. It does not matter. Any enhancements that we can do, we're going to do our best to make those available. So as long as it's not to the detriment of everybody else, then those things make sense to do. And as long as we can do it in a timely manner and make work of it. So I am basically done showing information. I do have the 3 questions. Hopefully everybody, I allow everybody to see everybody's question. So hopefully you can see everybody's question. The first question was the rates displayed on that calendar. So I kind of covered that. Well, the option to see the full availability calendar, covered that. And then the calendar being interactive. So I kind of covered that. So those are kind of the three things that were asked. If you ask any more, I'd be welcome those. But I am going to launch a survey at the very end here. I've got one more slide with my information here. So I just want to make sure people have that. So I do have a few more questions come in, but anyway, so we want to know, please take time to fill out that survey. We want to know, who attended, what option you used before, do you miss anything, what's your feedback, what else can we do, those types of things. So let's see. We've got another question that came in. Is there a way for guests to cancel or modify their reservation online? The very short answer to that is no. But again, this isn't like our full release of the booking engine and then we're done. So that is definitely on the table to try to figure out how to make that work. But the short answer is no, not available at this time. The second question here on the confirmation step, is there an option to display the number of guests that were selected? Confirmation step. Let me just go to the booking engine. So I'm going to just do a search here, 10th through the 12th. 2 guests, how many units? You can have the option of displaying how many units, pet types. Obviously, most people don't have a lot of pet types. Whether they want to search for 80 accessible units, have a discount code. I am wondering if you're talking about this area. Paul, let me see if I can unmute you to just verify that. Paul, are you able to talk? Hello? All right. Possibly doesn't have a microphone, but hopefully that's a way. But yeah, so I guess the quick answer is on this stage, we don't have it at this point. But we can certainly add that, right? So I will put a request in. But I shouldn't answer that so quickly. We will put that on the list to take a look at. I shouldn't speak for development that we can add it. Now, I will say once you do add the unit, it does display what was selected here. So sorry we couldn't talk here to make sure, but I will kind of follow up with you later to make sure that's what I mean, what it means. So let's see here. I want to go through the questions answered. Then I know somebody has their hand up. Kyla, what about the flow of the search? I know we've been chatting with you. So yeah, so that's kind of some of those things that we talked about on the initial step, making this interactive. That's kind of what the ticket is for and what we're investigating. So if they happen to go down here and want to click on these things, then that flow continues. They can click on an arrival, click on a departure. So that's all on the table. So I have a question. During May through October, we only have people check in either Monday or Friday. Is there a way to update the rate configuration to reflect that? Yes, there is. Julia, if you reach out to our support team, you can restrict arrivals, departures during any time of the year, any season. So that is an option. Right now, you can only change a guest count in the beginning of the search. So, yep. So if you follow through here, you can change it right here. So I can change the guest count. But once they've kind of added their guests, picked a unit after this stage, they would have to kind of go back or just do a new search if they want to do update the adults and kind of go back. I will follow up with you to get more feedback on how you'd like it to work. Again, the goal here is to get them from point A to point B, and point B being to book that. Now, we want to make sure things are correct here. So if we've got any feedback on where along that process you might, they're not able to change that right now and you'd like it. So good feedback, good question. Let me, is there a way to remove the promo discount button? I have to clarify on this new one. If you do not have any promo codes or discount codes set up in the system, it used to be that it just didn't display that. So I will have to clarify that, Harley. That is a good question. I do have promo codes and discounts set up in my rate, but I will have to clarify that. So I will take that offline. There's a question: is there a way to remove this? So let me verify that this new version is it as well. So if you don't have any promos or any discounts set up, then this doesn't even appear. Yes, let's see. Somebody had their hand raised. I apologize. I lost track of who that is. Joshua, I'm going to unmute you. You have your hand up. I have unmuted you if you're available to talk. You had your hand up. All right. I'm going to mute you again. I'll follow up with you to, oh. All right. I apologize. Maybe you don't have a mic either. So I'll put you back on mute. I apologize. So, all right. I want to make sure one more time for the calendar. Yeah, so here's my final page here. The last question was, the mobile booking engine doesn't display with the updated look, so can I get assistance? Yes. So you can, I recommend going to, I apologize for that, going to support first, support@rezstream.com, and I apologize I didn't put the email up, 303-872-0222. No, I apologize. That's not the right. It's 303-872-0220. I said one too many twos there. So 0220. Otherwise, email support@rezstream. Here is my direct line, my direct dial phone number, as well as my direct email address. If you'd rather email me or give me a call directly, that is fine as well. I will either try to help you out myself or make sure we get somebody to help you. So yes, I encourage everyone to go check their booking engine on their phone and click on the View Desktop Availability Calendar to see if the new display displays correctly. So we can disable that mobile booking engine to give that guest the same experience on all devices. Got two more questions. I apologize here. I want to make sure I try to answer it since I'm not at the full 45 minutes here targeted for this. Okay, updates are cool. Thank you. Main concern is Google Hotels. Good question. We're on the very final stages with Google Hotels. We will make sure that will be an announcement that everybody should see. Working with Google Hotels. So keep an eye out for that shortly. So we are in the final testing stages. And then that answers your other question. So if you want to follow up with a little bit more information on that, you can, but we're in the final testing stages and beta testing. All right, if they don't have ADA and you don't allow pets, can I have them? Absolutely. You don't really want to remove the ability. If you said, can I remove them from my website? You do not want to remove the ADA widget on a website if you happen to have that on there. That is sort of, it doesn't mean that you have ADA functionality. It just means that your website should have ADA accessible features on it. We're seeing a lot of frivolous lawsuits for lawyers that are kind of taking advantage of websites that are not ADA friendly. So if that's what you're talking about, make sure you don't hide that. But the whole ADA accessible units, I believe that's the same thing. I'll follow up with if you don't have them, it wouldn't show, but I'll be able to clarify that as well. Pets, yeah, no, pets is just one of those things that I have in my booking engine. That is defined, how you define that is in the booking engine, your guest types. So what you want to display on, first of all, if you don't even have that as a guest type, it's not going to show up. Or if you maybe have it as a guest type that you want to, track for phone call reservations, you can just disable that just for the booking engine as well. So that's kind of the setting there. All right. 40 minutes. I planned on 45. So just know that I plan on making sure that I respond to everybody that asked a question to make sure that I have a full answer to that. And that I've answered everyone and making sure I'm just kind of recapping that. So reach out to me. I want feedback. I love feedback. I'm going to end this, and there should be a survey. Again, if you could just take some time out, we'd love to hear from our customers, good, bad, ugly, great. Anything you have to share would be appreciated. So with that, thank you. I'll give the rest of your day back to you, and we may be in touch. Thanks. Have a great day.